Welcome back. I am doing my second session of muzzle conditioning with Savage. So the first session we worked on entry of the muzzle, the marker structure, and the reward. If you didn't watch the first video, it is on my page below, so you can watch it in time-lapse version. So to refresh my dog's memory, I start with a separate session of the muzzle, just the entry, the marker, and the reward structure. My dog also has these pre-existing behaviors of knowing how to go to these place commands. So we have the climbs there. She already understands the concept of the directionals, so this is useful for me to add into our training. So I'm using them to give her more time in the muzzle and have a task to do to keep her focus off of trying to remove the muzzle. So I'm pairing positive experiences and operations with her existing in the muzzle. So she isn't thinking about how to get the muzzle off, she's thinking about how to do the next task, which is what gets her the reward. So you can see here, she does still think about the muzzle a little bit, so she does a couple of times will paw at it. But I'm also still using this chin rest behavior to indicate to her how to get the reward. So she goes between the place commands, and then she looks for that chin rest behavior, which is how she gets rewarded. And I'm also using the clicker to indicate the end of behavior for the muzzle, so that's when the muzzle will come off. So it's important for my dog to understand the marking structure and have pre-existing behaviors with that. So you can see I use these different commands. She has this chin rest behavior, which interrupts her trying to paw at the muzzle, which is what I don't want. And she also understands the terminal marker, so the end of the behavior is that clicker. So once the click happens, that's when I take the muzzle off. Everything else has a continuous marker, so she gets good or yes. That tells her that we're going to keep working and to continue the pattern. So by adding in these different behaviors that are known behaviors, I can create more duration inside the muzzle and then release her from the muzzle with that terminal marker. For her, she still gets opportunity to enter the muzzle. I have it loose enough right now that I can just slip it over her head for the most part. This is a Baskerville Ultra muzzle, so it has a plastic clip on the side, which also locks. So at the beginning, you probably saw me struggling with it because the lock was on, so I couldn't get it clipped up. But this is just another way for me to be able to put the muzzle on and off relatively quickly. So I can practice putting the muzzle on and doing it up over her ears, and then I can just slip it off at the end with the terminal marker, which expedites the reward for her. So that's just a good way for her to get more repetitions in of the on and off portion and building in this duration. So you can see the more time that goes on, she doesn't particularly care about the muzzle anymore. She understands the structure, she understands the pattern. Now I'm introducing more known behaviors, so she has different skills, lefts, rights, sits, things like that. These are all things that I can add on to reward the behavior of being in the muzzle.
Sit. Good. Place. Sit. Good.
So building more duration there, you can see I don't keep her activated all of the time now that she's sort of settled into the process. So I can ask her to do just a sit and see, is she going to try to get the muzzle off with the sit, or is she accepting of wearing the muzzle now? And we're working on just that heel position a little bit for her. Again, click and remove the muzzle. Okay, so this is the same session. I just changed the orientation. That sometimes is enough to throw the dogs off in a new behavior, just something as simple as turning around. So I do this as an easy way to get more reps in and see where she's at. And you can see for the most part, she's pretty settled. So the structure again here is she understands that to get the reward, she has to offer the chin rest behavior. So that's my criteria for her at the moment. It's how she understands when she's going to get rewarded. The rest of the time I have her doing skills so that she's pairing these things together. Now she's having chains of behavior and more duration in the muzzle. And she's pretty settled and she understands to offer that chin rest behavior. Still, I'm going to use that terminal marker of the clicker when I'm going to remove the muzzle. And I can give her more opportunities here. Again, I kind of revert back. So we've done lots and lots of repetitions of multiple times of her having long durations in the muzzle. So now I'm going to offer her shorter durations in the muzzle. So she comes out of the muzzle. Now I can present and just work on having her enter the muzzle and get rewarded for that. Give her opportunities to work without the muzzle being on. So we don't always stack things one on top of the other and only make them harder. I do go back and make them a little bit easier for her again.
Left. Good. Right. Good. Place. Good. Very good. Place. Good girl. Foos. Yes, good girl. Foos. Yes, good girl.
So this is the end of my session, and I want to make sure that she stays in the muzzle until she hears the terminal marker. So that picture is pretty clear for her. So that's session 2.